You're able to drive a car in the Netherlands when you're 18. You're able to drink, smoke, whatever you want, because that's when you become an adult. So it's celebrated.
Amsterdam is well known for its canals, bikes, coffee shops, and of course, the red light district. But how do young people here spend their free time, get around, and live? Meet Cosmo, a 19-year-old student born and raised in the Dutch capital. Today, he'll be showing us what his life in Amsterdam is like.
Goedemorgen en welkom in mijn appartement in Amsterdam. Or good morning and welcome to my apartment in Amsterdam. Come with me. And watch out because the stairs are very, very steep. So welcome to our house in the city center of Amsterdam. My mother actually lives up these stairs. And then I live here. So this is my flatmate. His name is Baby. He's kind of the party animal around here. I have a very small kitchen and I have a very small bathroom. Very, very small. But I'm happy that at least I have my own bathroom and my own sink where I can wash my face in the morning. Usually I just start out by having some fluffy white bread. I would just slather this in a lot of butter. We are gonna slather everything. Usually I wake up maybe 15 minutes because I have to leave. So this is the quickest thing I can do to really get the nutrients in. Hagelslag. But it's basically just chocolate sprinkles.
In 2023, Amsterdam was one of the most expensive cities in Europe to rent in.
I've never moved. This is where I've always lived. So most people that I know that are maybe even 25 or 30 still live with their parents just because they cannot afford living somewhere in Amsterdam.
The average monthly rent for a furnished one-bedroom apartment is 2,300 euros.
For me, I would never leave, you know, if I don't have to.
But now it's time for class. Luckily for Cosmo, his university is just a short walk away.
When I finished high school, I was 17, and a lot of kids my age take a gap year, but I love being busy and I love doing stuff, so I didn't want to take a gap year.
Cosmo is now in his second year of studying creative business. He hopes to work in media one day.
If I would look at myself in 10 years from now, I'd probably be living in Amsterdam with my partner, and I'd probably be telling stories in some way or another. So these are one of the canals in Amsterdam. A lot of people park their car here, but there are no fences. So one time my mother actually slid into the water when everything had kind of frozen over. And it was winter, and then a rescue team had to come and rescue her. But that's also one of the reasons why every kid in the Netherlands goes to swimming classes when they're very young, because things like this do happen. You know, you're always surrounded by water. You have to use a lot of force because the doors are very ancient. Okay, come on in.
After class, it's time for a short break at home with his mother.
When I got pregnant, people told me, "What are you going to live? You can't raise a kid in the middle of the center." And I said, well, no, I'm going to stay here. First of all, I love living here. And I am sure by the time he is 14, 15, he will hate me if I would tell him that I left the house.
Cosmo and his mother share a close bond. His grandmother was born in Indonesia and also played a big role in his life growing up.
There are a lot of people who are Indies or Indo, and that is people who come from Nederlands India, which is former Dutch Indonesia, like my grandmother, for example, who was born in Jakarta, which was called Batavia at the time. That's why you will find a lot of Indonesian people here, a lot of Indonesian restaurants, a lot of Indonesian shops, you know, so there's just a lot of Indonesians here.
In the afternoon, Cosmo travels across town to bring lunch to his friends, who are also the founders of a queer newspaper.
It started all as a school project, really, but we really felt the necessity of a LGBT plus newspaper in the Netherlands because there's nothing similar that represents the youth in LGBT in the Netherlands yet.
On the fourth page is Cosmo's story. He wrote it all by himself, and he got a whole spread.
I was doing research on the hookup culture with dating apps in the Netherlands among queer youth, which is a very big thing. I mean, hookup culture is very big here, and I was very interested to see how what effects that has on young people in the Netherlands and in the queer communities.
In 2001, the Netherlands was the first country to legalize same-sex marriage, before Cosmo and many of his friends were even born.
And we always want to improve, you know, but it is true that it's still a tolerant city and that we are really spoiled in that way. But you know, there's always space for improvement.
And as long as there is space, we will push it.
So my main mode of transportation in the city is actually walking around. I love walking around. I know most Dutch people or people from Amsterdam, they cycle a lot, but whenever I can, I try to walk, if it's walking distance. And otherwise, I take public transport because it's actually free for students.
Dutch teens can drive when they're 18, but in Amsterdam, using a car isn't exactly convenient.
There are a lot of people in Amsterdam that live here that don't have a car at all, because it's just a city that's very impossible to get through with a car, because as you can see, it's not really made for cars. It's made for boats and horse carriages, so having a car in the city can be a little bit dramatic if you want to get a parking spot. Also, parking is very expensive.
And a nice beer. For Texas. So, proost.
Oh yeah.
Roast. Hey. And always look each other in the eyes.
Otherwise you have 7 years of bad sex.
Yeah.
I think 18 is definitely a big age in the Netherlands, because that's when you become an adult. You're able to drive a car in the Netherlands when you're 18. You're able to drink, smoke, whatever you want, because that's when you become an adult. So it's celebrated.
Often associated with adult life in Amsterdam is the red light district.
This is actually the oldest neighborhood in Amsterdam, but of course most people know it for the window prostitution and for the coffee shops and everything. And across from me right now there's also a few windows with women standing in them, and we can't film that, but it's something that you grow up with in Amsterdam, and it's something that you respect. It's just a job, like other people are working a job, and you ought to be respectful to them and respect their decision in life.
The Netherlands has consistently been ranked as one of the happiest countries in the world, coming in 5th place in 2023. So how does a young adult like Cosmo feel about life in Amsterdam?
My least favorite thing about living in Amsterdam has to be the weather, and sometimes the people, because the people can be a little bit closed off and a little bit rude sometimes. I think my favorite thing about living in Amsterdam definitely is the sense of freedom that you get here, and also the versatility. I mean, the weather is versatile, the people are versatile, everything is just very versatile. So that's something that I really like. Amsterdam is definitely my home. I feel very at home here. I don't want to leave it. If I'd have to leave Amsterdam, I'd also leave the Netherlands, and I'd go to another bigger European city. It was so much fun having you guys over. Now we're just gonna chill this evening. Thank you so much for watching and have a good evening. Or dankjewel voor het kijken. Goeie avond.